me and you, me and KoDoRiN, are going to talk about various subjects within the Melee scene, kind of like a little weekly show, which I always love.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
inspired from me watching the commentator's curse way back then. I think we could call this a commentator's blessings.
you could call it that. And I just like talking to my young man KoDoRiN. It's always a fun time. We talk about various nonsense. We
Mhm.
always will look at chat in case you guys want to contribute topics to talk about. But we just like talking Melee, playing Melee because it's like our favorite game. So
Of
that's like the
course, of
whole
course.
gist of things. And what better time to do it than in the premier online weekly TMT stream, which is
Mhm.
going to be coming up right after this. So this is like the precursor
Yes.
before that starts. And of course, as usual, we have like the most stacked TMT ever, right, Togoto?
Most stacked ever. It's tough to say until like we know round the dot, but right now the East Coast bracket looking pretty stacked. It has HBox, Lod, Moki, three of like already like some of the best TMT or East Coast players are like already pre-regged. Who knows how many more would enter? Like maybe Slug might enter, maybe
Cody said
Cody
on
might
stream that
enter.
he might. Yeah, Cody said on stream that he might. So it's still like I wouldn't be usually like I mean obviously this is like a weekly tournament. Usually the registration happens like
Hmm.
up until bracket starts, and that's not for a little bit. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I expect even more people, but the list is already pretty dope. If it's just these people, we're gonna have a good bracket. So it's gonna be awesome.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, So, we have whatever that's going to happen. It's going to be a fun time later tonight, later this afternoon. That will happen roughly around an hour-ish until Scar and Toph get situated. But let's talk about what happened in like the last few weeks. Uh, Such as, Akla winning Light Club. That's a pretty good win from him, right?
I mean, that's an insane win because Polish and Cody were both there, right? Like
That's
that
like two top 10 wins right there, right off the bat.
back to back. And didn't Akla win it in winners?
Yeah, he didn't
So
drop a single set. He didn't get fair from ledge by Swooper one time.
and I think what was crazy about that is IBW had a 10-game slobber knocker, ended up winning the loser set, lost in winners against the Swooper.
Hmm.
But the Akla set against Swooper, that was like a 3-0 like 9 stock or something. It was not close. Like it was
Uh,
like what
One
was
of them
that?
went to last
No.
stock,
You're
but
right. The last game was a 1 stock, but the other 2 games were not close.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is that like every individual player has their skill sets, and like obviously overall, Cody's better than Aklo. Like just because he's beaten him one time, that doesn't mean that like Aklo's better than Cody overall. But there's weaknesses, especially when you're studied and sought after. And with Cody's more aggressive style, that's gonna get kind of destroyed by Samus. Whereas like Aklo, he's down to camp you out. He's down to abuse the platforms a little, maybe tilt you a little. Don't you think just like by style, Aklo just should not have trouble versus Samus?
Well,
Whereas like
Aklo
Cody
goes
actually also historically has Samus losses like hugs at main stage, remember?
right. I think it's Aklo was going to a lot of these locals to play the
Hmm.
Super, so kind of has figured it out long term. And
Yeah.
also, like you mentioned, I mean, Aklo is pretty indisputably the most defensive player in the game right now, like by a long shot. Like, and usually defensive Fox is what counters Samus, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's like
so
a much harder style for Samus to overcome compared to like a fox that's gonna kind of go at you every now and then with a full up. They're like, "Ooh, I'm gonna smack my lips with that fair from ledge."
sure. Super was pretty sick nasty though. Did a lot of cool super wave dashes. I got a mini super wave dash in there. I kind of freaked out in the chat when that happened.
Yeah, I thought
Um,
he was gonna win that. I thought he was gonna win the run back when he did that. But what I think is even more impressive is that Cody managed to claw back despite that initial deficit. He ended up clawing it back, and I thought he was gonna also claw it back in grands, but Ack was like, "Nah, I'm better.
yeah, it was
I'm
interesting because I felt like, when I was like around the top 4 area of the bracket with Polish, Cody, Swooper, and Akla left, I thought about it and I was like, man, I think the worst grand finals we can have is Cody Aklo. Because we see it pretty often. It's at a lot of like these online tournaments.
Mm.
And Cody actually usually beats Aklo pretty solidly. Like it wasn't
Mm.
usually hasn't been that competitive. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
like literally at Giga Schwab, like the weekend before, he like four stocked Aklo pretty badly in one
yeah.
of the games. It was like
So
a 3-0 shutdown.
yeah, so you know what I'm talking about, right? I was
Yeah.
thinking about it. And I was like, you just look at the list of players, like Polish and Aklo. I think it was 3-1 Aklo, but that's usually pretty close. Can be pretty close. You don't know what if you just line up the players. I guess Swooper Aklo based on that winner set would have been pretty bad, so maybe not that one.
Yeah.
Um, but in
The
general,
thing
like
is, like, Aklo also made an example off of Polish too. Like beating Peach twice on FD. Look, that's no small
uh,
feat, and it's like
yeah,
that doesn't give me good feelings if you were to get a run back as well. So it's like
I, I
he
I don't even know. Does Peach on
he
FD
just looked like
count
the
as a
best
counter
player.
pick? Does it
What?
count as a counter pick? Because you remember like Leffen versus Armada, like how Peach FD looked. Didn't look that good for Peach. Like I know if you get a grab, it's death, but or not even. That's the thing. It's also not even death. I think we don't talk about enough.
Well,
They get a nair and then they get a hard edge guard. That's the
yeah,
truth.
it's like the pressure. It's the oh yeah, if I get grabbed at Peach, I'm eating 100% minimum.
Yeah,
But more often than not, they kind of drop it somehow. Maybe there's like some slight DIs that we're not as super familiar, or maybe they don't practice the chain grab every day. It's
yeah,
one
but
of those two. But
Armada
more often than
wasn't
not, you do see
really.
Peaches just drop it straight up.
Armada wasn't really dropping in. That wasn't the problem. The problem was like it doesn't like end of the day. Sometimes it still took two or three like real openings to get that grab, so it's ended up evening out. And drill shine into stuff is still half your stock. You know what I mean? Like it ends up, and that's way easier to hit. It's way easier to land those things with Fox like by a long shot than a pure raw grab. So I don't know. Obviously, like Peace gotta do what Peace gotta do. It's not like the other stages are better. Like Fought is maybe, but the rest for sure not. But
I
it's
would.
always weird to really think of it as like a wow, Peach should just win this. It's like it's not like it's Marth where you have dash dance grab. Like Peach has a hard time getting that grab, man.
Yeah. Definite. Like I think the only challenger Aklo had was IBDW, and he proved it by just being the best player of the tournament, just shutting him down. Like, there's also some moments where, when it was last stock, what usually happens is that the lesser experienced players just start to choke, they start to freeze up, they start to make irrational decisions. And I actually thought I saw Cody choke more than Aklo, funny enough,
I
where, like,
thought it was a 0 out of 10 set until the last stock. Is basically what I was feeling while watching that.
yeah.
Uh, we're talking about like maybe half the stocks were sub 20% shines. Like they were like super low percent kills, like
Hmm.
back and forth. And then the last stock was a hot fire banger. Who's better than who? Which is
Yeah.
really
And
like.
then, like, Cody hesitating on ledge dashes, uh,
Mhm.
and like kind of missing some rolls and confirms and way that basic tech skill stuff. I found it impressive that Aklo was able to maintain his composure and you know trust the good old reliable up throw up smash to win the tournament, and that's important. I'm more interested to see how long Aklo can maintain this, because it's very common that we see up and comers, they have the confidence, uh they get that first big win, but can they do it the third time, the fourth time?
But
And like
he's going to be
Aklo,
taking a guaranteed step back
hmm?
because I don't know if he's going to Genesis. He's one of like the four people might not be going.
Yeah, that's the real shame part, is that like he's not going to Genesis, but he says he's likely to go to Pound and Gommel, and that's where it's like all eyes are on him. Where like now we're kind of giving him some pressure, some expectations at the highest level, and that's where I'm the most interested to see uh, how Akla progresses. It's just a shame that he can't go to Genesis, because damn, that's where everyone's going, and
Do you know a reason why is he not going?
oh, because he's a pre-med student. He got to study.
Oh, he's got like something coming up. Well, that's a
Yeah,
shame.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's a big one which he could prove himself.
Hmm.
The list of people not going to Genesis, of course, is like super small. I
Yeah, it's
don't. So
actually not that much. But
Reg for melee singles is closed or not? Do you know?
I believe Reg is closed at this point. I could be mistaken, but I heard like yesterday was like the last day for refunds, and typically that means that Reg is closed. Which, by the way, how I knew this was because I saw FaceRoll tweet out that he's not going to Genesis. I was like,
You'll
you
never
know,
be able. You'll never be able to face him, dude. It's never gonna happen.
yeah,
It's gonna
well,
be number 1 and 2 in SoCal, and they're just never gonna play each other.
yep, yep. That's the state of our SoCal scene. At least I still got Spark until he moves back.
That's cute.
Yeah.
All right. So does that mean are we confirmed no Leffen? No, Leffen's in melee singles and registered.
Well,
He might not
I
go.
mean, he could just always say last second that he's gonna DQ. Uh, I think he's gonna go. Like he's gonna find a way. There's just no way that like he's gonna miss Genesis.
So are we in one of those situations? I have a feeling he's probably gonna go too. I don't know.
I,
Are
like
we in one
yes,
of those
like, I
situations
think he's
where
just I think he's like just expressing how hard it is to go, but he will find a way. Like this is the same Leffen that would tweet how frankly envious he was about the US getting tons of opportunities and how he was so sad about missing Summit and all that, like, and just recently how sad he was for not being able to compete in the LACS. He's not missing Genesis. Like it's gonna be hard for him to attend, especially with his new commitments, but I think he will find a way, and that it'll just suck if he doesn't go. Like I'm sure he knows, like.
well, whatever happens, what I don't want to happen is the TOs are kept in limbo because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
they're like making seeding, right?
Hmm.
And last I checked, he's like gonna be like 3rd or 4th seed or something crazy.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
it's hard to argue that he's not at least top 4 seed.
whatever the case is, I hope it's not like a game time decision for him, which is just
Yeah.
gonna piss the TOs off because now, their whole bracket's gonna get screwed up because of him. It's not gonna be like there's a cascade effect to this sort of thing, and it's always gonna add question marks to someone's results, right? Like someone's gonna get the Leffen bracket with their effective
Yeah.
3rd seed,
Give me the
and
Leffen bracket.
all right, Kodo. Actually,
Hey,
you
hey,
have a good.
Genesis is a summit qualifier, by the way.
It is that too. Like
Give
it
me the
actually,
Leffen bracket. Don't actually Leffen, you could stay.
if he does something like that, it could decide a summit qualifier, which would be super whack. Um,
It won't be
so
whack if it favors me. That's all I'll say.
so I like he goes, he doesn't go, whatever. Take care of your dog. I don't give a fuck. I'd prefer him to go, but
Everybody wants him to go, especially like I think Zayn of all people really wants that run back.
yeah, I mean he's an amazing player, so we'd like to see him play. But the more important thing is I'm thinking about my good guys, Bobak and Sheridan, which is like just
Yeah, they're already going through a lot, and like don't put more. Yeah,
don't do that. Just
yeah.
don't stop. Just don't do that. It's
Just
not
make
cool.
it, or
Well,
don't make it. But at least let us know.
just let people know. Like the thing is like what's funny is you could do this with every tournament. By the way, if you're a top player, you can register and then not let the TO know that you're not going and
Hmm.
ruin the bracket. That's like a genius griefing strat that like no one should do, but like people are doing it inadvertently. But you could do that, right? Like you could, because they seed the bracket based on who's entered, and then they
Hmm.
don't if you don't actually go. I guess you're giving them free money, but you end up ruining the bracket. So
Yeah, it's such a weird dichotomy. Like you are like there's plenty of tournaments where I've gone where it's like, oh yeah, I only entered because of you, and it's like, what if I just didn't show up and all these people show up? I did technically help the TO, but also in a grimy way. Uh, so
that's
it,
genius.
it marketing maybe, but yeah, no. I hope he makes a decision sooner than later. Like, isn't this like aren't you supposed to book a flight now? Like, especially internationally, to
I mean, if you want to save money, you can book a flight day of if you want to. I mean,
yeah. Uh,
it's
you
definitely.
know, also like time zones as well. Like you do, like Leffen has said on record in order to adjust to time zones well in the U.S. He likes arriving at least a week early, if not two.
But the thing is,
Shouldn't we
like
put that in?
more importantly, it's like he might make up his mind at some point, like let's say 4 or 5 days before the event. But if he doesn't tell them, namely if he's made up his mind to not go, and then they won't know what to do. And even if he made up his mind to go, he should still tell them because he put a tweet out like that. Because as a TO, you're always still thinking like, okay, should I actually seed him third or fourth or whatever, or should I
Yeah.
seed him like slightly lower than that to make it just in case, you know?
I don't even like that. Like slightly seed him lowered, like that. Like nobody wins there.
Point is, you put something out like that, you should tell the TOs. No matter what you do, if you go
Yeah.
one way or the other, you should tell them.
Yep.
And as soon as you can.
Yep.
Because it's annoying and no one needs to deal with that.
Yeah. And like,
Anyway.
typically like around this season, like you see people grind for melee. Like I guess like I don't devoutly follow Leffen's stream. Has he even been grinding melee? Like that's usually like an indicator of whether or not they go or not.
I've been playing DNF Duel a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't seen almost any melee. I mean, I'm not on Twitch that much last few weeks. I was out of town for a bit, so maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen. Now chat can maybe correct us, but I haven't seen that much melee from him. Versus Cody, Zane, Mango, it's literally
they're
20.
grinding right now.
They're playing right now, but it's like actually like 10 hours a day every day. And I expect that to continue for like whatever it is, the next week and a half.
Yeah. So
So probably not, right?
no.
Like based on
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, I mean, if we were betting man, like I think we would bet like 1-to-1 odds at least that Leffen's not going.
Yeah. I think it's probable he's not.
Yeah.
Because if he's not streaming melee, he's probably not entering melee, right? He's not
Yeah.
gonna go out of practice.
Yeah, I mean, like we've seen this pattern before from Leffen, right? Where it's like whenever it was like uncertain he would go because of like other issues like visa issues or like motivation and whatnot, like we would see him like actually grind. Like, we saw him grind for Summit, for example, leading up to it. And then in prior years where it's like, oh, is Leffen gonna go to Big House? Is he gonna go to Genesis? And it's like, well, is he grinding melee? And more often than not, if the answer was no, he wouldn't go. So yeah,
Right now you are predicting. Okay, let's make a hard read here, right? And by the way, the dog is disgustingly cute.
Yeah.
It's a corgi, so we
Yeah.
all love that. So did he? How ambiguous was his tweet? Is the question, and this is what we're evaluating because I want to make a hard read, right? My hard read at the moment is he's probably not going to go.
Yeah.
He is still registered, so the TOs are probably going to seed as if he is going to go because they don't 100% know that he's not going. And I think he's not going to show up, and we're going to have a scuffed bracket because of it. That's my current read on the situation. Because his tweet says, not completely sure how my April looks. He doesn't actually say yes, no, one way or the other. So the TOs will be put in a spot, and I mean, I guess it's possible he'll tell them, but I've been around long enough to know that, like,
yeah, he's gonna stay in bracket and then like give someone a free summit spot.
Is he gonna tell them? Like, William, please prove me wrong. I would love.
Everybody wants to see Leffen. I want to see Leffen there, but
No, I don't even care about. I'm telling you, I don't even care about him going. I'm telling you, prove me
and
wrong
also,
by telling the TOs. Prove me wrong by telling the TOs because I currently don't believe it that he will, and I currently believe that the TOs are gonna see him like freaking fourth, and that's gonna be annoying.
Blur's when he's referring to you in first name basis.
Now the 5th seed is gonna have the easiest bracket of the tournament, right? Like if he gets seeded fourth, right? Like the 5th seed is all of a sudden gonna be secret 0 seed, whoever that is. So who's that gonna be? Like Wizzy or someone? I don't know.
Congratulations, Wizzy, for getting to Summit.
Yeah.
So
Panama said last month, 20% chance for him to show a chances. See that 20%, you still gotta see him. You gotta still see him though. Like right, like what do you do?
Yeah. Definitely not an easy position. Like I think I would like try to DM Leffen like 2 days before. Like I don't know when it's standard to seed a super major. I would guess like 2 weeks before, which we're already in that territory, so it's already kind of running the schedule tight there a little. But 2 days before I have to make a decision, I would like try to reach out to Leffen's DMs, his fan, like go to his stream at the very least, sub to him, and be like, "Hey, are you going? Please give me a yes or no." And if he doesn't give me an answer, I would definitely remove him. But definitely a hard decision.
Yeah.
What would you make?
Um,
What decision would you make, Blur, if you were the supreme dictator of this situation?
oh, I would just annoy the hell out of him. Try to get a response, and if I get nothing, I'd probably remove from bracket.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what I do. But I know that's hard because they have other shit to do than to care about one particular attendee.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
but I can, that's probably what they have to do because that's the situation.
Right.
Nonetheless, whatever. It's weird to talk about someone who's like the one dude not going when it's like we have literally everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We have a habit of that, right? Like in Melee, where it's like, oh, we have 19 of the top 20 going or whatever the hell we do. I think we have 18 of the top 20 this time or something without Aklo and Leffen. And we have literally everyone else, right? Is he top 20? Is he
Well,
on Blur rank? I don't
well,
remember.
do you not want to refer back to your Blur rankings?
Was he top 20? I don't remember.
Yes. Oh my goodness. The
Oh my
Blur
god.
rankings on
Yeah.
Shambles.
You think I haven't memorized?
I know he was top 20.
No, he's 21st. Just checked. Maybe you don't know what you're talking about. How about that?
Ah,
How about that?
never mind. Never
Never
mind.
doubt me again.
I,
Never
I
doubt me again.
stand corrected.
That's right. Um. So that means we literally have 18 of the top 20
Mhm.
going. I'm quite sure. I'd have to double check. I think it's 18 of the top 20. And so it always feels weird that we have the habit of talking about the two guys not going. Like that's a big deal. Like it's gonna make it any worse. It's gonna be the best tournament we've had in like I don't know 2 years,
You
right?
just
Like
can't help but notice the holes.
yeah, you can't help it, like, cause you want it to be even better,
Mhm.
but it's gonna be freaking dope, bro.
Because
Like,
like consider that like we haven't seen well, okay, it's not true technically, but like definitely the bet like the player that we expect to do well is Zane, right? And consider that probably the player that has the best chance of beating Zane is Leffen, even though that's not statistically like I guess as verifiable compared to like Mango and Cody. But like just by looking at the eye test, it looks like Leffen is the best versus Zane. And seeing him taking out of the picture where it's like, all right, well,
no,
Zane's chances
I
went up
strongly
by like
disagree. I strongly
50%.
disagree with every word you just said.
What do you mean?
He's not playing Melee. You put them both on the sticks right now. He teleported him to the US. Put them playing right now while Zane's in form and Genesis practice form and Leffen right now. 0% chance Leffen wins the set,
Yeah,
right?
obviously. I'm just
That's
talking about
all.
Leffen.
I know, but I'm trying to get people in the habit of saying that's all that fucking matters, right? Because all this crap about people's legacy, skill, and someone who didn't enter, they're so good, they would have done this, would have done that. Who gives a crap what they would have done? We care about results around here, and we care about people's performances around here. And not showing up is worse to me than 0-2. Whoever's going 0-2 in that bracket, you outperform whoever doesn't show up. That's how it works, right? Like end of the day. End of the day. Now, obviously, dude's crazy skilled, and if he got in form, he'd be amazing. So I agree with you in some respects, but in general, I just don't like giving people credit for stuff they didn't do. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not giving him
He has
credit.
never he has never won a tournament set against Zane, as with this new Sheik that's you're clearly referring to. So I'm like, look, what are we even talking about here? What are we even talking about? He has to actually do it. He's not showing up to the tournament where he could do it.
Yeah,
So I'm giving
you're
zero
right.
credit. I'm giving zero credit to that.
I
Like I don't
said
care.
I was giving him credit. I just thought that it would be really interesting to see, but we're not going to see it.
I'll give him credit for raising a really cute dog, which is what he deserves right now. That's what he deserves right now, which is fine. I love dogs, and it's a very cute one. That's what. God bless.
Please tell them. Please tell someone. Anyone.
Very
That
very cute dog.
yeah, that's a cute dog.
Very very cute dog.
I don't know. I hope he gives a very firm response by like now, but we all know it's not going to be until like next week.
But you see okay. Just to clarify, the reason I didn't like what you said a second ago is because let's say Zayn wins Genesis, right?
Mhm.
You're gonna use that little line and people like you and people who will parrot it would use that line to discredit a Zayn win because he'd be like, "Oh, well, the guy who could probably beat him the most didn't even show up." And that's the stuff that I want to eliminate and do scorched earth around, like just to erase it from the earth. Like if we could just never talk like that ever again, it would really help the world
I
out.
feel like that all the time whenever I win a SoCal tournament, Blur. It was like, oh, where's Facebook? You're not guilty of that, Blur.
I love making fun of you. That's my morals here. So be better.
Let's not pretend that you're the one the high ground here, Blur. Oh, I got it from. Guess who I got it from?
All right. Well, let's both be better. How about that? Let's both be better. Is all I say. You know. I just wanted to see you beat Face Roll one time. It would help me out.
I'm so mad at you.
It'd be
I'm
fun.
following
Like
it.
it'd be nice to see if that's
Same
possible.
feeling Zane has. Bet you. You know how much like Zane has been looking for Sheik practice ever since that first of 5, like all the goddamn time. Only to see that Leffen didn't show up. He's more furious than I am for him.
I think the most funny thing is that I've watched hundreds. Well, I don't know if I've watched, but I've seen that Zayn has been practicing hundreds of hours versus Pikachu for like 2 years now.
Oh, dude.
And the poor guy hasn't played against
for him.
He hasn't played against Axe in like forever. Like this guy has literally been grinding a matchup that he's just never getting a chance to play. It's so funny.
Like the one time he fought Axe online was when he was playing at his worst, and it's like, dude, I felt so bad for Zane that like he was playing at his absolute lowest, and then had to play Axe at that point in time. It's like,
Maybe he should employ the KoDoRiN versus IC strategy, you know? Just accept that you're gonna lose when the 1 in a billion tournaments you freaking face against that character, and then move on in losers. Like
it has to be Slug specifically, because I don't think I would lose to much other ICs, even with how bad I am at the matchup right now. It's like, it's also more likely for those Ice Climbers players to run into like a Peach or an Isis killer of some sort than it is for me to meet them in bracket. So yeah, that's a pragmatic strat. And when it does come to bite me in the ass, I'll accept my judgment.
Because like if Zay just did that for the last 2 years, nothing would have changed in terms of versus Pikachu, right? Literally nothing would have changed. And for all we know, he might lose anyway the next time he plays Axe.
That's the fucked up part. He just might lose anyway.
He might lose anyway, bro. Like, does it matter? I don't know. Hilarious. All right, but Genesis, since we are going to talk about the people who are actually going, we got everyone else, and
it's gonna be like the best tournament like that we've had in years.
We're going to talk about if we do this again next week with this little show that we got going on. But you're watching people's streams, you're practicing against people. Make a hard read. What does the KoDoRiN eye test say in terms of who is in the best form right now? And
who's going into Genesis? I mean, I'm gonna say the boring answer. Zane looks like the one that's in the best form.
Yeah, I mean,
because like right now, Cody's going through some mental turmoils. Mango is not playing. He's taking frequent breaks, playing Fortnite more than Melee at the moment. He wants to lose Genesis, so that's not a good sign. Plop looks pretty strong actually. Can't count him out. I have no idea what's going on with Wizzy. Leffen isn't going probably.
What's the total list? Assuming Leffen's not going, what's the total list of players who could win the tournament?
Okay, well, obviously, like, despite me kind of giving Zane the edge over Cody and Mango could still obviously win the tournament. They could just, because they do have a tendency where, like, they kind of, maybe they have, like, an iffy track record, but when it's game time, they do show up, so you can't ever count them out. Amsa and Plup, they could just run amok and just beat everyone. Like, at Summit, the last Summit before winter semis occurred, it was like, I remember talking to you, Blur, where it was like, dude, Amsa could just win the tournament with how good he looked versus HBox and how he beat Mango in pools. And like, who's to say that he also can't beat Cody and Zane? Where especially last time Amsa and Zane played, they went to game 5 last stock. So it's like, maybe Amsa came up with some new tools. Plup is a secret grinder. I ran into him like a surprising amount in unranked, like uh more often than any other top player. Uh, so he's been grinding a ton. I think he secretly is super informed right now, and looks to be a winning contender. Overall, obviously it's Zayn, but now that I'm saying all this, it's like I'll give Zayn
Yeah.
like 30% chance
Oh yeah,
over the field.
he's
40.
not like strongly favored.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably 6 people, right?
Hmm.
It's Zayn, Cody, Mango, Plup, Amsa, and Wizzy, who can legitimately win the tournament. Like
Yes.
in terms of people who have the skill to do it, and it wouldn't just be some insane fluke.
Hmm.
It would be those 6 that like actually could do it.
Hmm.
In my opinion, um, I don't think anyone has more than like a 30% chance of winning. Um, and I'll agree with you that the person who has the highest percentage is probably Zayn,
Hmm.
um, but not by much. And that's
Yeah.
mostly because I feel like, I mean, you hate to say it, and you don't like to say it to the
Oh,
guy.
don't say it. Don't say it.
But there's when things get close and things get hairy, he's a bit of a front runner.
Ah.
He's a bit of a front runner. Like he just I don't think has a lot of close games a lot of the time, right? What I told him after Summit, and I hate dude, we had the saddest moment. You,
Mm.
me, and Zane were hanging out. We're all like,
We, we
oh,
we were having like that mask of like we don't want to cry right in front of each other, but we did want to cry.
a little Marth, a little Marth cry. It's fine. And I think we were gonna go to In and Out or something. I don't know.
I remember.
We were, and then we were like, we couldn't find anyone. Whatever. It was kind of plans were jumbled, and then it was like, oh, Zane was gonna go back in his room, and we were all gonna, we didn't know what to do, and you could just feel how bummed out he was, and it was
Hmm.
part of the bum, the the reason it was so bummy was you see the guy play well sometimes, and you're like, bro, he's like way better than everyone, like. eh,
Yes.
and that's honestly been where my heart's been is I actually feel like if you take his 100%, his 100 like his pure peak level skill, and you in general in Melee, the answer to
Well,
that question has always been
I,
Mango, has always been
yes,
Mango,
yes, yes,
but
yes.
the
I wanted to
truth
bring that
is
up.
it really feels like nowadays at the peak level skill, it's definitely Zane. Like it's
I
not close.
I don't.
And
I actually disagree, Blur,
you
because
think it's Mango still?
well, at least at the time from Summit 12, I was witnessing their Fox Mart gameplay friendlies. Mango was winning 90% friendlies. And then when it came to tournament day, he dropped the ball. But I could tell you that me
He
and
might
like
have
two
had
other people that were watching, so I witnessed Mango destroy Zane for like 3 days straight. And then game day, Zane trounced on him. I was like, oh my god, that's like me.
You also know, like, just from watching Zane a lot, that he has a pretty high variance in skill. Like,
Mhm.
sometimes he has bad friendlies days. You're just like, "Oh, Zane's just not it's not a good Zane day." And then good Zane day, though, it's like, "Oh my god." Like, holy smokes, everything's clicking and it feels really good. Um, Cody's asking if he can restream.
That's probably
The
fine.
answer is it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Um, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, like, at the end of the day, the tournament's what matters. But it does feel like, especially in some of those situations, you look how close some of those sets are. It's like it always doesn't go his way. You know, I wouldn't use the word choker. Other people would.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't use it. It's
I
more like
I
he
hesitate
hasn't.
to call him choker because
He's
like
against people who are closers. It's more like those guys are closing the sets, and he plays a character who has a hard time closing out high percent stock sometimes, and
yeah.
sometimes it can look like that when it's like, bro, I actually have to win neutral 5 times, and they have to win once, right?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
the nature of like the percents that happen to have happen in this one really close game,
Hmm.
and so like sometimes it looks like that. This is also why some people said that HBox, like as a player, like Puff ends up clutch boxing on her own sometimes, right? Marth
Hmm.
kind of anti clutch boxes sometimes.
Yes,
If they
sometimes.
if they get high percent, and
Hmm.
sometimes if they're at low percent and you're the one high percent, Marth is actually really good at clutching, right?
Hmm.
But like the other way around has happened to him a few times.
And I do want to bring up that like I think Zayn will figure it out. I mean, like we saw him kind of make waves. Like the last Genesis, for example, he was a closer. He clutched it out. He clutched Game 5 versus Hbox at the time, who was a god, H god, unironically. Clutched out that stadium transformation versus Mango. Um, Kind of steamrolled most of his competition, if we're being honest. And besides those two,
But a
I
lot of
think
Zayn wins are steamrolls, right? Like that's what I'm referring
no,
to.
no, 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 no.
They're
Well,
they're
yes,
in
his steam
winners.
was against his lower level competition, but when he was equal level versus HBox and Mango, he was clutching out, right?
Weren't they winners though?
They were in winners, yes.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like I want to see a nice fatty losers run from the guy. Hasn't happened. Usually,
I mean,
usually, usually it's like he loses, then he loses and losers immediately afterwards. You know,
uh,
pretty pretty normal.
I mean, if you want to count online tournaments, he did make that fat losers runs in that four local fight night, but didn't have Mango.
My unironic advice to him after that 7 loss was like, bro, enter as many online events as you can. I don't care.
I
I actually
was
prefer.
gonna bring that up. Like, I think like how Zayn could like figure this out and like solve his little block is by entering more. Like, I think like Zayn, he needs more exposure in those type of environments, and
That's
he
why.
will learn. It's just like the less often he's doing this, like the more he's gonna be unprepared, right?
I don't even care. I actually think it might be better if he enters a secondary sometimes because his
Yeah,
mark will just steamroll, so he won't learn.
yeah,
He won't get the clutch gene. I don't think it's a coincidence that the peak of Zayn in terms of results happened at the peak of Don't Test Me. Like,
yeah.
and I know that sounds so silly, and it really is the dumbest thing ever to say that his Roy made his mark better. But I
Yeah.
think that what his Roy did well is he was popping blood vessels playing those matches. You saw what's going on.
He was
That
like,
was like he had, he had to play like a goddamn monkey. Like it's just a pure like focus. His focus was pure. And I think that helps. I actually think that like going to that level of try hard, and sometimes it can only happen for him when he plays the secondaries against a lot of opponents. But that's fine. That's fine. Like I think just going through those motions is really helpful because in melee, like especially recently, we've had some time in between tournaments, and what I'm worried about, looking forward to him in Genesis, is like when's the last tournament he enters Marth, right? Like he's just gonna be like he might be
the
in good
summit.
melee shape, right?
Hmm.
Exactly, he might be in good melee shape, but is he in good tournament shape? And that's
Yeah.
where I have questions. Where it's like when things get down to it, you just it's been too long since you've been put in the fire in the hot seat, and you know as well as me that the
Hmm.
more often you put yourself in the hot seat, the less scary it feels, right?
At least you're
Um,
more used to it, and you know how to better respond to it.
exactly, and everyone like it's. By the way, this is true for like everything. You could even train it in other ways. You could play with some freaking hard one-player games. You play Dark Souls enough
Elden
times and
Ring.
Elder Ring or something like that. You know what? You're gonna start. Everyone knows that gamer feeling.
Hmm.
Where you're on like trial and error number 50, number 53, and it doesn't feel as scary as number 20, right?
Hmm.
As number 30, because you kind of started to figure things out.
Yeah.
And you're just getting locked in, right? And
Hmm.
this it's not that different in melee. It's like you can't just expect to go into the fire and be like, "Yep, I'm a god. I'm a clutch box. It's not how it works." And
Hmm.
part of the reason why HBox was so clutch is he was the guy who entered the most. Like it
Hmm.
really helps. That's the
Yeah.
number one thing entering a lot helps with is it helps your tournament readiness. Like it's a huge help in that.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's why even if online tourneys don't matter for anything in theory, which we're gonna try not to, by the way, like I'll do my best to make these matter to some degree. But if anything, like Cody's gone on record saying, like, yeah, this is really good practice, not only just for the competition, but also for the mental feeling. Um, I've been humbled the last few weeks in these online tourneys, and I do view it as valuable lessons every time I lose, and as well as locals. Like I do intend to go to a local tomorrow in San Diego. Um, it's great practice
The
to
more we're talking, I
yeah.
kind of want to do the controversial reverse mind game pick of maybe Cody has the highest chance of winning Genesis.
Yeah, he already has like the bad losses out of the way. You know, he just lost in the nightclub. He's going through all his turmoil right now. And then last second, he's gonna solve everything. It's like, oh yeah, I know. I could just have fun. That he told me that was his mindset at Summit, where I was like, yeah, no, I'm just playing to have fun. And who was the champion at Summit?
And the reason I'm saying that is that I look at everyone else, right? Plub's actually entered a handful of online tournaments recently, so
Mhm.
maybe not him, but most other guys, Amsa because he has no choice, Mango because he was playing League for the last 3 months,
Mhm.
but Mango's always seems to be ready. That guy's a freak.
Yeah,
He's just a
he's a
freak.
veteran.
He's just a freak. He doesn't make any sense. And then Zayn hasn't been entering with his Mars, like I said, and I tend like skill for skill, like peak friendly skill. Like if we're running a first to 20, I think like if Genesis was a tournament where everyone once they enter top 8, they have to play first to 20s. All right, give me Zayn. Actually,
Mhm.
100%. Like that, then his win rate would be like 90 to 100%. I genuinely.
Weren't you just watching Zayn's friendlies just now, where he was down like 3 sets versus Cody, and then he like won 4 in a row or something?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why Cody might win because those first 3 are the ones that are going to be the ones that count in tournament. Last I checked, I'm just saying. Maybe I'm turning into a Cody believer.
Mm.
I might believe that Cody
You know
because
Cody's gonna choke.
no,
It's either Cody wins or he goes like he gets ninth.
no, because I'm seeing the mentality he sometimes has on a stream where he's just kind of in a happy-go-lucky mood. That's
Mhm,
the Cody that I think is in his prime. It
mhm.
looks good, and he's entering tournaments. He's putting himself against it, and I think it's gonna pay off. It might
Yeah,
hurt in the moment,
mm.
but I think it's probably gonna pay off.
It's a
And
long
I
term.
long term, I do see it, and I think like it might feel and we might feel weird about it. We're like, God, those were some weird sets, but Cody just won. And but that's exactly the kind of tournaments he would
Dude,
win.
I remember
Right?
during the moment in Summit 12, everybody was like fighting about Cody counter picking the FD, and like while we were all like yelling and making arguments why it was a bad counter pick or a good counter pick,
He
He
just
was
won.
four. He just like 4 stocks. He was up 4 stocks to one in game 5 against Zayn. It's like, well,
Well,
wait, we can't say it's bad.
just for posterity, we had a room like basically the Summit Grand Finals was like the weirdest viewership experience because we had like all of everyone downstairs talking amongst each other about things, and all we talked about was yes or no, his counterpick strategy, right? People were arguing, right? We had Geo going off all that. And then literally we were so focused and heated about the argument, the set was over. We were like, what happened? He just won? He just
Wait,
won Summit?
how's he have 4 stocks to one against Zayn?
I guess he just won. I guess that's there you have
He
it.
just beat Mako too. Okay.
Okay, I guess that's what happened. I guess so. So I think he has actually a sleeper really good shot because of that. And I think it's gonna help him when it comes to like let's say he loses in winners and he has to play in losers, like that kind of thing is gonna help him. It's gonna help him a lot. Now there's always the genetic freak, which is Mango. And it's
Mhm.
really hard to bet against him, never forget about him. So it's like
Don't sleep on the kid.
but I do like giving Cody Lobo plus ups because I think that those factors are gonna matter. When he goes against particularly Zayn and a handful of other people like Wizzy and many others, right? Like and Amsa, right? Like all three, like those 3 other guys aren't putting themselves in the fire in the same way. Amsa has no choice, and it's gonna make a difference. It's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you do also want to see the guy that's like putting himself out there the most pay off to some degree. And like that's something that I always respect in a competitor is somebody that like actually put themselves out there, actually fails, and like actually learns something from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is a nice. I'm gonna be happy with whoever wins, right?
Hmm.
If Zayn wins, I'm gonna go
Oh,
LOL
I'll
Marth.
be super happy for him.
Yeah, because it's Marth, and I'm down.
We're
If
giving him our commentator's blessings, right?
If
Right,
Plup
right.
wins, if Plup wins, it'll be a chic win unless he goes Fox for half of it. Who knows? But also, Plup sick, Plup Club.
Hmm.
We always love seeing Plup win Genesis. Who doesn't love seeing Plup win? Mango wins. He's the goat. He's one of my best friends. I love seeing Mango win. Like basically, no matter who wins, we're gonna be happy about it in some way. So I'm not like it's not one of those tournaments where it feels like someone really needs the W because most of these guys have gotten sporadic wins throughout the last couple of years,
Yeah.
and no one's really down on their luck. that much. So,
Compared
it's
to like the volatility of right now compared to past years, where would you rank this as? Do you think this is like the most volatile year of Melee, or do you think it's like in between? Or actually, maybe it's definitely not the most straightforward. Like I think it was 2018 era where it's like, okay, it's either Armada or HBox that's gonna win. Like that was like probably like in terms of storyline, probably the most boring year of Melee. But right now it's like we have like a lot of winning contenders, right?
the way I put it is right now there are 7 human beings who can win a tournament with everyone that if everyone is present, right? The 6 we listed plus Leffen, right?
Hmm. If he
Um,
goes.
right. Basically, like those 7 people can win tournaments if everyone's there. And I know Amsa has never done it, but I'm including him because, bro,
If
with the
he
right
like,
bracket,
just yeah,
with the
like the
right
eye
bracket,
test.
and just watch him, bro. Like, come
Hmm.
on, we know we know enough about Melee to know that guy can do
Hmm.
it. And Ranchero wants to bring up Zach. We can't put Zach in that group, but Zach probably has like a 0.1% chance of doing it even then, right? Because
Hmm.
he can beat everyone, but it's more about can he win 3 or 4 in a row,
In a row, yeah.
which is what he needs to do from his seeding, right?
Mhm.
Maybe if he was first seed, maybe it'd be more possible for him, but from
Yeah.
his seeding, he has to actually win like 4 sets, which is a little
Also, he
tough.
needs to beat one guy in particular that he's
Yeah,
lost
but
many times in a row.
right, you could, sure. So it's probably not him, but anyway, there's 7 guys who can legitimately win super majors right now,
Mhm.
and you can look through Melee history. You guys can correct me, but we've never had a number even like close to that high, right? Ever before. Like usually the way Melee works is there's 2 or 3 guys who could win majors, right? That's it. Like at any given time. And for like a decade, it was those 3 guys were Mango, HBox, and Armada. Like that was like there was like a decade of that. Then there was like the early periods, which was like Ken or Azin, and then like I guess there was an off time. Isaiah won one of them, right? Like, but it was pretty much
Cool.
Ken or Azin for a little bit, and there was like this period where it was like PC, KJ, Ken, Urazin. There's like 4 guys, right? That was like, oh my god, there's 4 people who can win. That's crazy, right?
Mhm.
There's like a little bit of error there, but for most of Melee history, it's like 2, 3 guys,
Mhm.
4 max. And I can't really think of a time that's it's been this many,
Mm.
right? 7 is dumb. And I'm
Mhm.
saying that as an like it's honest, right? Like you agree, right? There's 7 guys who would just win right now. And
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
know
like when we
why that
say we
is.
can win, I think like we mean like at least a 10% chance of winning because we're like, I'm not gonna say that Wizzy and Amsa are the favorite, but like, there's like there's a 10% chance. I mean, Wizzy did win an SCL when we didn't expect it. So it's like, yeah,
Sure.
like I'll give Wizzy 10% odds. I'll give Amsa 10% odds based on like the history that we've seen from them. And like that's better than what we could have said in the past, right?
There mentions that 2019 because Wizzy and Ix won majors. I think
Mm.
that would probably be the next highest because Wizzy and Ix actually did win, but I think still those were like going into those events, most people wouldn't have said they could win. So
Well, it was also like HBox was like 60 to 70% chance to win each event, right?
that also was like a big part of it.
Yeah.
But definitely now 7 is certainly the highest. I agree that basically obviously the more you get close to now, the more names get added to the list because we've basically grown into this era, right? In
Hmm.
2019, 2020, 2021, it's grown into a 7, right? And we
Yeah.
don't have a great name for it for this current era, but
The top 7.
yeah, and they're I'd say they're considerably better than everyone else too.
Hmm.
Those 7 guys, right? Like it's by a pretty big margin. It feels.
Don't you
There's
think it's a
definitely a
little
gap.
crazy that like we haven't even given HBox a consideration now? Like we just went on for so long how like Mango, Zane, Cody, Plup, Wizzy, Amsa, some guys I probably repeated a name, but it's like yeah, and then we just completely left out HBox like without any second thought. I just only remembered HBox was in the conversation because some Twitch chatter said his name. I was like, yeah, isn't it crazy that we've just forgot him?
I don't think we forgot him. He's still pretty good. Like he's still a top 15 player minimum. Probably, I think we ranked him top
15?
10. He's ranked top 10, right? Like still, like I think he was. I mean, the
Imagine
lower
saying
rank
that
had him.
like 3 years ago. By the way, it's like
Lower rank ranked him 8th. So he's literally ranked right after the 7 right now in terms of what a panelist panelists voted, right? So
Yeah.
he's not
I,
that
I,
far
mean,
off.
I think we're definitely correct in like not and like where we think his skill is, but it's like, isn't it crazy that like we don't think he's the winning contender anymore?
It is crazy because he's the third greatest player of all time, and it's also crazy because when you talk about a GOAT argument, he's one good year away from being the GOAT, right? He's like
Yeah.
the only person that's active right now that has like a shooter shot of
Hmm.
catching Mango, right? Because obviously Armada's not playing, and the guy that Ken's not playing, who's usually number fourth. Mewtwo
Hmm.
King is often considered fifth, and
Well,
like those guys
Leffen,
aren't playing, or
Leffen,
Leffen, right? Yeah, but Leffen's pretty far away. Basically, Leffen
yeah,
like
and he's helping his case by skipping Genesis.
he's not helping his case, right? Leffen actually needs multiple years, maybe
Mm,
like 3 or 4,
yeah.
because he's never been the best in the world, right?
Hmm.
He's never actually had a number 1 year.
Hmm.
So and Mango's had quite a few. Um,
Hmm.
so it would take Leffen a lot to catch, but it wouldn't take HBox a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, if he just made a baby push, he'd have GOAT under his belt. That's pretty good. And I know it sounds silly that we when we talk about, but like trust me, when I talk to those guys, they care. They care.
Hmm.
They care. A guy like HBox cares. Being the GOAT of Melee, that'd be badass. So he's not that far, but it does feel like he has like pretty much a 0% chance to win Genesis, right? So
It's
um,
crazy. Zero, not even like one, not even like baby 1%.
no, would you disagree? I mean, I think he'd agree. It's like it's definitely like it's straight zero, right? um,
Damn.
but but that's fine. You know, he has a good chance of making top 8.
Hmm.
And that's good. That adds to his
And it's like
legacy.
the
I'm
most
happy.
we're gonna give him is like, yeah, he could get the Summit qualifier spot. He
Wait,
could.
isn't he? Is he not invited?
No.
Oh,
Dude, you just said how he's not even a winning contender. Summit invites don't do it by legacy. They do it by merit.
well, damn.
Isn't that crazy? That like you just automatically assumed that he was invited.
It's just how it's been for like 10 plus summits.
Yeah,
So because he's
right.
he's HBox. Uh,
He's H God. And
y-
he might like do you think he's gonna win today's TMT?
no, Moki's might be fair. I don't know. It's close. Who
And
knows?
Lod's in there, don't you forget.
And Lon and BBB. So there's and JFlex. There's actually quite a few players who can do all right, and we don't know who else will be in there. So, um, but I think, um, you know, it's it's like Xbox always surprises us, so you never know. Speaking of Summit qualifiers,
Hmm.
though, we have Leffen, Plup, Zane, Cody, Mango, and Pipsqueak invited.
Hmm.
That means no Wizzy, no Amsa
Hmm.
invited to Summit. There are 4 spots up for grabs at Genesis. Who gets those?
Me.
Who gets those?
Me 4 times.
That's that's
Let me
yeah.
it'd be easier if I had a list, but like, right off the bat, like the default answers I could say is like SFAT usually has a great track record of getting the spot. Polish, me, HBox. Uh
Yeah. That's
I
Fetch
would
is
have
so
said Aklo if
consistent.
he was going, but he's not going. Uh
Um, you'd think it's like some short list of SFAT. Polish is going, right?
holy shoot. I I forgot that Amsa and Wizzy aren't invited. So they're gonna get
Oh,
that.
yeah, there's there's
So
yeah,
it
there's
actually shortens the list by a big, like by a wide margin.
it's gonna be super hard to
Yeah,
get in because of that, because they just gobble up 2 of the spots.
yeah. So,
Assuming they make it that far. You never know. Melee's a wild and crazy game.
yeah. Whoever gets Leffen's seed, you know,
Mhm.
dude,
So,
that's
there's also that
crazy. That
it's
like, they're-
whoever gets left in seed is also okay, it's number 1, whoever gets left in seed, which is actually probably gonna be Wizzy, right? 'Cause
yeah,
Wizzy's gonna probably be 5th seed, Levin's probably 4th seed, so I think Wizzy's a damn near lock,
yeah.
knowing that, um, so I think Wizzy, Amsa, Probably
HBox.
HBox and probably SFAT is probably just in terms of who's consistent.
Yeah,
Um, but then there's guys like you, there's Polish,
Polish.
there's I mean, frankly, everyone else
Like,
who could all do it. There's like 10 other people who could do it after that.
CJ
Moki,
Moki,
yeah, Moki Joker.
Lod, Ginger, a lot of
All
people.
all of those people could do it.
Yeah.
Um,
So, that one's way harder to predict than like the winning contender at Summit, or not Summit, Genesis. So that in of itself, it also really depends on whether or not Leffen says he will go or not. You know.
it
So.
really does because if he says or doesn't say in terms of what it means for the bracket, it could basically give Wizzy a free run, assuming the bracket plays out like we think it will. So that would be interesting for sure. I do like the Survivor theming of
Mhm.
this coming summit or coming Genesis or summit, excuse me.
Yeah.
I love Survivor the show. I've watched like 30 plus seasons of that show. I have to catch up on the last few. But I'm a big
They
Survivor.
gotta invite Ken there, right? It just wouldn't
Dude,
make sense.
it'd be so awesome if they invite Ken.
Yeah, like obviously not as a competitor, but just as a guest,
A little guest.
some
A little,
skits. Why not?
yeah. Oh, that'd be so fun. Oh my god. Like a few Ken skits.
Yeah,
That'd be great. That'd be great. They should
that
do
guy's
that.
number 4 on the all-time list.
That's right. So that'd be cool. All right, so that was Genesis. What else do you want to talk about?
Well, what we should be talking about is the tournament TMT because right now it's 4:30 and Scar and Toph are supposed to show up, but they're a little late. I think Toph's wrapping up his radio melee and Scar is being Scar. So, um, just as to conclude a little, let's make some predictions for today's TMT in the East Coast side, where the first seed is Laud, second seed is Moki, HBox, Ben, Logan, Bobby, Salt, and Ken as the top 8
So
seeds.
I mean Moki H box. Yeah, I think Moki's winning that.
Whoa, whoa,
Um,
whoa, whoa, whoa! You think that he's just gonna win so easily over Laud?
wait, no, but Lod's first. No, I'm saying, I think Moki's beating H box in their winner
Oh,
semi.
oh, okay.
And then there's Laud, and then did we say who 4-5 is?
Fourth and fifth seed is Ben and Logan.
Okay, well that's harder to predict.
No, that one's actually a lot easier to predict than you think. Logan's winning. They like for because like Ben's not strong versus Mart, and Logan has a very good track record uh versus Ben specifically. I don't
Okay,
know why, but
okay. Shouts to my boy Logan.
mhm.
We're Logan fans around here.
Yep.
So that's good. Logan versus Laud. Do you know how that goes?
Laud always wins.
Laud's really good against Mart, huh? Because of Zane. Dude, I watched so Zane had recent friendlies against Laud where he won like all of them or something, like a lot of them.
What?
But
What? Oh, Zane
he
won all of them.
he won most, but dude, it looks so hard. Like
Yeah.
and like I was just like, okay, this guy's cracked, so he's winning, but hitting Laud looks so hard.
Yeah,
Like
I definitely could say that as a testament.
it looks like insane. And I don't know, Zane just hits him anyways.
Yep.
But like you could feel like how hard he's working. And you know, Zane wins because Zane, but it's still a testament. So probably Laud makes it to winners finals, and then from there, Laud Moki, boy, isn't
That
Moki
one
bad
I
against
can't
Pete?
predict as well, but
I think it's probably Laud, right? Because Moki, I
yeah,
remember for a long time ago was pretty bad against Pete, so
yeah,
probably Laud winning that. And so I'd say actually I
it's
expect
crazy.
Laud
Laud's
win.
the
Laud
favorite.
win.
He's got
Well,
everything figured out.
I think Laud first seed for a reason, right?
Hmm.
So that's where I'd lean based on this bracket. Laud's pretty cracked.
Hmm.
Turns
Yeah.
out.
I do want to point out though that West Coast is starting to be pretty stacked. Like there's me, SFAT, and S2J that's entered, and Acid, and Eddie Mexico,
Yeah, these are
and
good
Geo.
players. Oh, also, Laud is just a new switch to the blurry map.
Yeah, the Z jump, right?
You know that
So
makes Peach like of all characters that helps Peach the most.
yeah,
My
because like he
Peach,
can do subfloat things like even more
yeah,
consistently, which is like
my,
apparently like a 1 frame window, but like it
my
makes it.
my Peach is my 10th best character, maybe 11th, maybe 12th. Actually, way worse than that. Who am I kidding? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure historically my Pichu has been better, and
Okay.
my Pichu is kind of cracked. Oh, I've so much. Oh my god, my Pichu was doing so well on rank recently. But forget about that for a second. Um, I love my Pichu. As you can tell, it brings me joy. Um,
I, I don't ever want to see your Pichu. That's all for that's for certain.
Anyway, the the moment I switched, did the blurry map, I switched the X to Z. My Peach became like twice as good. It was like literally instant. I've never seen like a control scheme switch that like it was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, like,
It's just twice as good as it used
tell
to
me from your personal experience, like, what switching to Z jump and why as the Z button, right? Why is
be.
it better? Tell it
No,
to everyone,
so you do Y as well. It depends on if you're a Y
or
or X.
X as
Yeah,
whatever.
so basically you have Y is you still have Y to jump, so it's a little bit easier of a change. So you can still do Y for a lot of stuff. But the main reason is because, and you really should do it with mouse click to make it better. But basically, the main thing is that it lets you do C stick um, aerials and also Nair, I guess, with A, um, and on two different fingers. So you don't have to do the thumb travel time, right? And that's the main benefit and the reason why I initially made the change. Um, what's funny is I still do most things with Y in the end. I do like because you don't need to use the Z thing unless you're specifically doing instant stuff, right?
Yeah,
Um, and so basically, you still could do 90% of the things you do normally with Y, and then the 10% of the things that are pretty important techniques you do with Z. And it's really good with Peach though, because um, she just has all the things with double jump cancels and so on, which lets you use Z. Mini Knuckles as you could just claw, yeah, but that's actually just worse.
yeah. Clawing is just uncomfortable in general, and it's like this
But
is
it's
like a
also
much
just
more
worse.
comfortable
It's also just
and
worse.
also worse.
Because again, with claw has the disadvantage of you have index finger travel time between the Y and the Z. So sometimes you want to grab, right? You don't really want to take your index finger off grab it with claw. That's like the problem with claw is it makes your grabs worse, which is not a good thing to do in a melee, which is like 90% of a grab game. Melee is a grab game. It's a
Mhm.
grappling video game. Um,
Except
and
for
so
Falco.
like except for Falco. Um, and Knuckles says he can grab with his ring finger. All right, dude. Well, you just have like freak fingers, bro. Um, but in general, it's awkward. It kind of hurts your hands. It puts your hand in an awkward position. The Z thing, the remap just doesn't do any of that, and it's better. Now it has downsides too, which is that the Z button is a piece of shit. So it's not like as good as
Whoa, whoa,
having
whoa, whoa, whoa,
having
whoa, whoa,
claw.
whoa, whoa. Cody recommends that you get the mouse clicker Z button.
The mouse click. So the thing is my controller still doesn't have the mouse click thing because I did it before everyone knew about the mouse click. I did it like so far before everyone else that I did it before the mouse click thing was even a thing. So I know that that's way better, but I learned to do it basically without mouse click, which is
Set
annoying.
it up, Blur. Get on with the times.
Yeah. So Knuckles says the Z button sucks. I try Z jumping. It is horrible. Yes, that is correct. It sucks. It's terrible. You can get used to it, which is what I did. But the mouse click apparently makes it better. Um, so and I still have to really grind with the mouse click to see how much better, but I heard it's a lot better. Um, you know, imagine though if you do what everyone. I mean, everyone's into cheating now. Why can't we just make the Z button a short hop button? Like, it wouldn't suck if it was just a short hop button, right? Like, I don't understand. Like, if we're all cheating nowadays, like, why can't I just have a short hop macro for one of my jump buttons? Like, at this point, like, what difference does it make?
Mhm.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
Um, but all right, what else we're gonna talk about since we're still waiting on.
we're waiting on Scar to show up at this point. Where is he? I gotta text him. Like Scar. Supposed to show up at 4:15.
Does chat have any other questions? Oh, I want to talk about April Fools. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. Um, we had April Fool's Slippy, which was a great 24 hours of fun. I played Pichu for 90% of it, so I had a great time. I will say, the mind of the unranked player is truly a fascinating thing, because we're on freaking poke floats, all right, and I'm Pichu, right, and these guys are picking top tiers and timing me out. I'm just like, man, you can't have one foolish day of the year. Now I still have fun with it, and I actually was winning those matches, which I found great because Pichu's a good timeout character. People don't know this. Yes, Pichu hurts herself, but you can't hit the goddamn character. It's a good time. Um, I've never gotten wobbled so many times in my life.
You got wobbled?
Oh, my Pichu got wobbled so many because
Holy shit.
it'd be okay. So here is what happened with my
Well,
Pichu.
well, I'm sorry to cut you off, Blur, but it seems like Scar and Toph has finally arrived. We can't hear your great Pichu stories in this podcast, but you know what? I continue on, Blur.
Point I was trying to make is don't be so mad. We're just having a good time on Mute City, and I'm having fun with my little Pichu. You know, yes, you're losing the games, but it's not a big deal. We're on Brinstar, my guy. It's chill. It's chill. People. I just feel like I want to, if there's anyone out there listening who was having a rager during the April Fool's Slippy, I want you to calm down. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Also, during that time, I learned that Pichu's bear way better than I thought it was.
Are you sure you didn't? You know what would be a funny April Fool's thing is that if they buffed Pichu like that one cheater Pichu back then.
Oh,
You know,
dude,
maybe that's why that bear is stronger than you think.
Everyone on a rank, like their own, because the thing is, they try to dash dance versus my Pichu, and then they just get freaking approached on, and they get overwhelmed. So then they go like it's literally it's the same game every time. Is that they get overwhelmed with the goddamn rat all over their face, and then they just try to CC all over the place, and then they learn very quickly you actually can't CC and beat the Pichu's back. Like that's not how it works. And similarly with like nair on hit, so it's like if you do it on their body. So it was like the most hilarious neutral. I should learn Pikachu.
Yeah, you know, Pikachu, some would say is a direct upgrade.
I know my Pikachu's okay. It's better than my Pichu already, but it's not. I don't know. It's like number 9 of my characters or something. It's like
What, you think your Pichu's better than your Pikachu?
no, it's close though. Honestly.
Okay. Well, that was a good segment. Sorry for cutting you off a little early. We're kind of working into kinks here, but for those that want to catch up, if you want to see if you missed part of this podcast pre-show, it will be on my YouTube at youtube.com/KoDoRiN. And yeah, we might consider doing this a weekly thing as a build-up for TMT, where there's HBox, Moki, Laud, Bobby, Logan, Ben, and more. And yeah, anything to end with, Blur?
Bobby Scar in Discord before we start says, "We want to know what they're talking about," and Iggy said, "Blur is talking about his Pichu being wobbled on April Fool's Day," and that just made my day. I like that information was transferred. That's all that makes me happy.
Someone, at least one person here listened.
At least Iggy really transferred what's important out of this.
Right.
But yeah, we're gonna have a good time. Have fun. It's gonna be good.
Enjoy the stream with
Yep.
Bobby and Scar, right? But with Scar and Toph. Oh my goodness.
Peace, guys. Bye.